Hi there. I'm Cher, and in this video, we'll learn how to use Multer to upload images to our application directory in a Node.js environment. To get started, we'll create an entry file called app.js in a new directory and install npm with its default settings. Next, we'll install Express and Multer using npm. Once the installations are complete, we'll move on to writing the Express server in our app.js file. So let's dive right in. Let's import the Express library and deploy our application to listen on port 3000. Now that we've created our server, let's run it using node-mon. Now let's write the HTML boilerplate code in our index.html file. Now that we have written the HTML boilerplate, let's create a route in our app.js file to render this page. We now have to import Multer into our application and set up our store. I will name it image storage and utilize Multer's disk storage function, which takes in the destination and file name parameters. These two functions determine the location and name of the file to be stored. Both functions receive the request, rec, and information about the file, to assist in the decision-making process, as well as a callback function that Multer calls once it has finished processing the uploaded file. The callback function takes two parameters, error and destination. The error parameter is null if no errors occurred during the processing of the file, and destination is the location where the file has been stored. After providing the destination followed by a /, we will create a folder with the same name in our directory. The file name function also has a callback that receives an error and a file name. In our case, we will use the original file name, but you can assign any name to the uploaded file. For instance, you can use date.now to give it a name as the current time in milliseconds. However, in that case, you would need to extract the file extension from the original file name, as Multer does not do it for you. Now we will create upload const, which initializes the Multer middleware with the storage option set to the storage variable that we defined earlier. With the addition of Multer storage and upload constants, we can now move on to defining our post routes to allow for the reception of data from HTML form. Let's duplicate this route for multiple images. And change the path to multiple files. We now need to pass upload function in both of these routes, where upload.single takes one string argument, the element name, while the multiple files route takes upload.array with two arguments, element name and files limit. We will leave these empty for now. Let's head over to the HTML file and create forms for each of these routes. We will make the first form for single image upload. So we will pass the post route path to form action. Let's make the form method as post. You have seen here added enctype attribute to our form. In normal forms, you don't add this attribute. But when dealing with file in the form, you need to have it, and the value must be multipart/form data. Since we have created our single image form, let's duplicate it and make some minor adjustments so that it can be used for multiple files. We will copy the root path from app file and paste it to action attribute. Other options stays the same. However, we need to add a flag multiple to the input so it can accept selection of files. We will give names to the file inputs and supply these names to the upload middleware on our post routes. As I said earlier, that upload.array takes two arguments, the input name as well as maximum number of files which can be uploaded at a time. Let's start by adding placeholders to the text inputs in our HTML form. Now, moving on to the back end, we need to read files, starting with the single image route. To do this, we retrieve file information from the file input in our form using rec.file, and the text from text inputs data using rec.body. It's important to change our input names to camel case or snack case instead of kebab case, which we will do here as well as for the form inputs. We will also change the file input name to camel case. Which requires us to make the same change in the upload function of Multer in our routes. To ensure everything is working correctly, we will log the file const and text const to the console and add some validation in case no file is selected, which will throw an error. We will also do the same with the multiple images route, where rec.file becomes rec.files. In this case, we will log only the file names, looping through all the files and returning file.filename. We'll copy the validation code from the first route and finally send the file's information to the client. Testing the upload by selecting a file named book.jpg. We hit the upload button and receive the file sent to us from the server. We can also see the details in our console, including the text field item from the logging statements we wrote in our code. However, the images folder is still empty due to an issue with the storage. We had misspelled destination, so we corrected it. And let's try again. We got successful response from the server, and the file being saved in our images folder. Next, we test uploading multiple images by selecting 4 images and hitting upload. We receive all of these files' information from the server and have these images in our images folder. And that's it. This is how we use Multer to upload images and other files in a Node.js application. In our next video, we will explore saving uploaded files in remote cloud storage like Cloudinary, as well as using a MySQL database to save information about uploaded files so that we can render them wherever we want. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.